everyone, and welcome to Are We Doing This? I'm Lauren Parajon.
And I'm Lauren Butler.
We're two millennial moms on the brink of 40, looking for new ways to shake things up.
We're here to challenge ourselves, each other, and you to get out of our comfort zones and try something new.
So if you've caught yourself wondering, what's next? You're in the right spot.
So are we doing this?
Looks like it. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back, guys. It is now officially mid-March. I don't know about for you, but for me, it is middle of spring break, Wednesday of spring break. Have my kids home. So,
Woohoo!
Yeah, so I locked them upstairs. I gave them a bracelet making kit, and I'm sure there's beads all over the kitchen at this point.
Yeah, beads.
I threatened them. I was like, "There's beads all over. I'm taking it away. No more fun."
Well, they've been doing great because we haven't heard them, and they're hopefully they're
I've heard some
happy.
stomping around, but I think they're having a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we are back and excited. I'm also trying to channel spring today, wearing spring colors.
It's
finally starting to warm up a little bit in Portland. So we're getting tastes of spring. And then my spring break with my kiddos is next week. So we're preparing for that. Yeah.
So do you guys have plans for spring break?
We are just staying around town, but I'm trying to plan some fun stuff for staycation-esque vibes. So Oregon, we actually live pretty close to the coast. We, with another family friend who have two kiddos similar age to mine, are going to we actually bought tickets to go on a little 1-hour boat ride out to watch whales.
Fun.
So apparently the whale watching here is really good.
That's cool.
And this time of year, they're migrating north, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a really good time to try to see them. So
how exciting.
Be a blast. Yeah.
Very cool.
Kids are very excited about that. So we're just kind of trying to enjoy the local area and keep it low key.
Very cool.
How about you? How's your spring break going so far?
We just got back yesterday. We went to Moab, Utah, which I had never been to. I had heard of it, and I didn't know much about it, but I just knew it was deserty and had some cool hikes. That's all I knew about it. But a friend of ours was going with her family, and she's like, "You guys come." I was like, "Great, let's do it." So Moab's maybe six and a half, maybe 6 or 6.5 hours drive. My kids have never done a full 6-hour drive before. We usually fly places.
That's a big one.
We did a big road trip the first summer we moved here, but it was we stopped we had a bunch of different stops and stayed overnight places. So this would have been the longest one, but because of that, we decided let's leave a day early and let's do a night in Glenwood Springs. Glenwood Springs is this really, really cute town that's about halfway, so it's about 3.5 hours away. And they have obviously they have hot springs, and they this restaurant down there called the Underground Italian. It is the best Italian food I've ever had. And so I was drooling thinking about it. So we have to go. Let's stop there. We'll get a hotel with a pool and a slide so that we'll make it fun. And that way it breaks up the trip, right? So my husband and I are having lunch. What day was that? Friday. So Friday is their kids' last day of school. And we plan on picking up the kids right at noon from school and hitting the road. So we'd get down there in time to have fun in Glenwood. So we're having lunch and he's like, "Oh," I was like, "What?" He said, "Highway 70 just shut down." So Highway 70 is the one mountain highway to get anywhere if you're going west. So Breckenridge, Vail, anywhere you have to go on I-70. And I was like, cool. So because there was a huge snowstorm. Not where we were. It was 70 degrees where we were. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm like, okay, now what's our plan? So we could have just ditched the Glenwood Springs plan and waited the next day. So it wasn't supposed to be bad weather Saturday.
Okay.
But I needed that Italian food. I had to have it. And we were already packed. It was already in the car. And the thought of getting it out of the car and then having a day at home, didn't sound fun.
Yeah.
So we're like, we'll pick a new route. So the new route was... I think it was going to take us 5 hours to get to Glenwood Springs, 5 and some change.
Oh my gosh.
So we were like, all right, well, that's kind of not helping making this a shorter trip for the kids, right?
Yeah.
Because our plan was just to go halfway. But we'd get to see Steamboat Springs, which we had never seen.
Okay.
There's another little town called Walden. There were just some little towns that we could see along the way. We'll make it an adventure. It's fine.
Oh my gosh.
So we pick up the kids at 12, hit the road. And we start driving, and Steamboat Springs was beautiful. And we got to go through Cameron Pass. The views we saw it was snowing really bad and cloudy, so we couldn't really see a lot of mountains. But once we got into Steamboat Springs, it was blue skies and beautiful. And I'm really glad we got to stop there and see the town. Very beautiful.
Okay.
So then we're in town, and I see that the part of I-70 right before Glenwood Springs that we need to get on to get to Glenwood Springs just closed.
Oh no.
Just closed. And I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? Do we stay
You're
the
like
night?
stopped. You're stopped before you get there.
Yeah. So like we were in Steamboat. We had to go all the way down this little, and
Oh,
we had to get on
yeah.
I-70 just for this tiny stretch
Oh,
to
to
get
get
to
there.
Glenwood Springs.
Oh,
And it had
no.
shut down just in that tiny stretch. And so we're like, all right, do we just call it and stay the night in Steamboat?
Yeah.
Or do we kind of wait it out and see if it reopens? Or do
Okay.
we take this additional
Long ass way.
detour that will then
Is that
take
what you
us?
picked? That's what you picked,
We
isn't it?
did it. It was
Oh my
another
gosh.
3 hours.
You do this to yourself, Lauren. You do this to
We were
yourself.
like, now our kids didn't trust us because we were like, this is going to be like a
Yeah.
3 hour drive. It turned into, we left at noon, like I said. We got into Glenwood Springs at
Oh,
8 p.m. So
geez.
it's like, the kids did so well. But yeah, by the time we got to, yeah, I mean, that glass of wine at the Italian place
Oh,
hit hard. It
well
felt
earned.
great. Yeah. But
Mistakes
the
were
kids
made,
so
Lauren.
good. I know,
Mistakes were
mistakes were made.
made.
And we kept laughing about it. We're like, we're going to cut this 6 hour trip in half. And instead we're on the road
Made
for
it 8.
basically 8 hours the first day. And we're only halfway there. But the
But you
kids
got
loved,
there.
we got there. I got my Italian food. We didn't have time to do the hot springs or anything, but that next morning we went to the hotel pool, which had a slide and it had a hot tub and it had a basketball court, like our basketball hoop in the pool. And it was this like, have you seen those AI screensavers that are just like snow, that big chunks of snow that just fall so slowly?
Yeah.
And it was that view out the window that morning. So we're like, I'm in the hot tub looking, and it was like a
That's so
cedar plank roof and everything in the pool. It was like
Yeah.
all wood, and
Ooh,
outside
dreamy.
it was just like the snowest, biggest flakes falling. And then the gondola, because the hotel we picked was at the base of the gondola. So the gondola is just going up to the mountain.
gosh.
It was
So
so
pretty.
picturesque. It was, and Cam's like, this looks like a screensaver. I was like, this looks like AI. And it was just beautiful. And so it was worth it. It was fine. The trip on the way from there the next morning, we made a stop in Grand Junction was another little town we wanted to see. So we had lunch in Grand Junction and then made it to Moab. But so big fail was obviously the detours. We did make it. We got to see a lot more of Colorado.
gosh.
It was absolutely beautiful. But Moab, like, do you know anything about Moab?
No, I mean, I've just seen the pictures and your pictures. They were
Yeah.
stunning.
It was like the most mind-blowing views I've ever seen in my entire life. Like,
Yeah.
first of all, the town is just like next to these like giant red clay rock formations that are just
Wow.
like, I felt like I was inside the wall of a castle. Like it was, and then there's also like beautiful mountain ranges with snow on them. So it's like
Oh, wow.
you have the red brick and then you have the
Yeah.
snow mountains. And we went to 2 different national parks to hike. We went to, the first day we went to Canyonlands and did this one hike. I swear to God, I picked the hikes that said easy because we had the kids with us, right?
Yeah.
Well, once we got there, it's like easy because you're not like climbing, but it was
Like rock
at the very
climbing.
top of one of those red giant brick things. Like,
Oh, gosh.
like we were freaking out. We're like, kids, stay over here. Kids, stay. Like if the kids, they could just walk off and die. Like it was like
Oh, geez.
just straight cliff, straight down, like immediate death. But it was beautiful.
Immediate death.
Immediate death. And it was so pretty. But then
Wait,
they
did
had
you
this.
have to hike up to that point, or
No,
was
we
it
drove to the
wasn't
top.
a lot of okay?
We
So,
drove,
but then
yeah.
it was like narrow,
But then
narrow.
it was mostly flat, and I wouldn't call it narrow, but in my head it was too narrow for like children to be
Yeah.
up there. Because if
Oh,
they had just run off, like, so I was a little
Terrifying.
panicked. And then there was another one called, I think it was like there's an arch in Canyonland. And
Okay.
as we get up to the arch, it was beautiful. I was like, and the kids ran up to it. And luckily I didn't see this happen. My friend Stephanie saw it. So when she ran up to the arch, she grabbed all the kids and like threw them back because it's just a dead cliff at the end of this arch. Like you just straight down into this like canyon.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she was like, it took her a while to recover because she was like, they almost ran straight off that cliff. Like,
Oh
I was like,
my
I'm glad you got there. I'm glad I didn't see that because it kind of, she was like emotionally not well for a few minutes because
Oh,
like
geez.
it was very scary. So I would say the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The next day we went to Arches National Park. Just incredible. And then one night after dinner we went to go stargazing in Arches National Park. And,
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
the stars were just
Was it
incredible.
so
It was
good?
it was so cool. I would totally go back. I want to get ATVs and do stuff without the kids. Would be
Ooh, that'd
really
be
fun.
fun.
And the
Yeah.
town itself was so cute. The little main
Was it?
street with like all the restaurants and bars and little like
That's so
bakeries.
cool.
I want to go back so badly. So
Oh my
it was great.
gosh.
We made it back in 6.5 hours. So
Nice.
yeah, so we survived. It was really
Was
fun.
the drive back just like, did it feel so easy? Like,
It
you were
felt
like,
so much shorter. The kids were like, "That was so fast."
they're
And
like,
they
we're home? We're home?
Yeah,
already?"
they were so good in the car. So yeah, it was
That's
perfect.
awesome. That's so
Yeah.
good. That's
So it was-
awesome.
but
Well, your
that being
pictures
said-
are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I have to create
Makes
a
me wanna
little. I
go.
use mix books to create little books of all of our vacations, like picture books.
Yeah.
So I need to go make one
Cute.
now, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said, I
Fun.
did nothing on my challenges. I did not touch any of my side hustles. I didn't even
That's okay.
think about them. So how was your side hustle or your challenge going?
Well, mine is going okay. I had some realizations. I'm still getting up early, hit or miss. My kids are
Yeah.
still getting up in the middle of the night. Last night it
Yeah.
was like 11:30, and I don't know about you, but that's like when I'm in like for whatever, that's
Oh
like when I'm
yeah.
in the deepest
Yeah.
REM. It's
Yeah.
like I was like in mid dream. And like I heard my son's voice and I was like,
No.
so I was like not functioning great for that moment. Thankfully we all went back to sleep pretty quickly, but
Yeah.
relatively quickly. Anyway, my husband's so disciplined. He still gets up and does his stuff even if we
Yeah.
get woken up by the kids, but I just like I struggle so much. So
Yeah.
it's been a struggle. I've still been doing it a little bit, just not as much. I think for me, it's really been an exercise in, I like really tend to be kind of all or nothing with these things I set out to do. And I'm like, well, I'm not waking
Can't
up
do it
every
all.
day,
Yeah.
so I'm failing,
Yeah.
or whatever. And instead, I'm trying to take an approach of just like, okay, it's not perfect. It's not every day, but that's okay. Like it
Yeah.
is when I can do it, I do it. And I'm trying to embrace that a little bit and make that be okay. And then on that flip side too, sometimes I sit down to write and I finally get the space to do it. And
Yeah.
I'm just not feeling inspired by like poetry. Like I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like forcing
Yeah.
it. So in that same vein, instead of just being like, okay, whatever, I quit. I'm not doing this. I'm trying really hard not to do that, not to just bail.
Yeah.
But I decided like, okay, maybe I'll just journal. So I
Yeah.
just started like journaling and writing just like thoughts
Yeah.
or whatever else. So I'm trying to embrace that not feeling like a failure and just
Yeah.
being like, maybe it can adapt and change and that's okay. I hope,
No,
like,
that's
even if it's not
perfect. You're
exactly
writing
what
for
I set out to
you.
do. I
Yeah,
don't
don't sit
know.
down and do something you don't want to do. This is for you.
Right.
But if you want a tip to journal,
Yes.
you can go on ChatGPT and just type in like I want to start journaling every day for 30 days.
Yeah.
I want it to be inspirational, or you can put whatever kind of theme you want
Yeah.
to attach to it and say, give me 30 prompts and then one a day. And so
That's
then
such a good
every
idea.
day it can give you a prompt and just write off of that. Cause I'm the same way when I sit down, it's like,
Yes.
what am I going to write
Ugh.
about
I
now?
don't
Like,
know. Yeah. Yeah, that's such a
so that's
great
a tip.
idea. I had not thought about using ChatGPT, but that's genius because I
Yeah.
just need a prompt. I need a
Yeah.
structure. I need like a
Right.
someone to tell me what to start. And then I feel
Yeah.
like that's writing so often is literally starting is the hardest part. And then
Yeah.
once you're going, it's so
Yeah.
much easier. Okay, I'll try that. So
Try
yeah, so
that.
I've kind
See if
of
that works.
morphed into a little bit of journaling. The open mic is tomorrow, so I'm
Ooh.
still gonna go, and we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens. More to come on that, but
Even if
yeah,
you don't read anything, just being there and just like
yeah,
absorbing everyone else and being in a creative space will
yeah.
be pretty fun.
Right, same. Like embracing. Part of me was like, well, I'm not ready, so I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
bail. And it's like, well, no, maybe actually it was my husband that was like, well, just go
Yeah.
and just go. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're right. I should,
Yeah.
do it, even if it looks a little different than I
Yeah.
thought. So anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just embracing adapting
Yes.
and
Adapting.
trying to meet the moment and do what we can and
Right.
throwing out perfectionism.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a good idea, right?
Yeah, do that. Yeah, since I didn't touch my side hustles, I was like, because like I
Yeah.
think I mentioned in the last podcast, I'm considering like I'm looking at jobs, just like looking at job boards and listings to see what's out there. What could I'm even like
Hmm.
searching entry level stuff. What's something new I can try, and what kind of training would I need for it? But then when I do search like what I do, because I do social media marketing now, like it's shocking. This blows my mind. Like
Hmm.
I'll click on a job listing it'll even just say social media manager, not even director,
Hmm.
social media manager. And you have to be like a completely experienced, like expertise mastery in video editing and
Hmm.
video production. And most of them now say we want you to be able to be a personality on on our TikTok. So like you have to be able to show your face and
Yeah.
full mastery of social media marketing and analytics and all that. Like this is 9 people's job. You're asking for a full agency and they're like, and the pay is like 50. And I'm like, how in the world are you going
Yeah.
to find someone? And I don't know if people now just like use Canva and just say that they know how to do this stuff. Like, is that
Yeah. Well, I
because
just feel
like,
like the whole creator economy has changed everything, and the
yeah,
whole Gen Z, like younger
can these
those
kids
young
do it
kids.
all? I don't understand.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
can
like
they do
they
all this
grow
stuff?
up doing it all,
Oh my
and I just
God.
feel like now it's like your whole package of like
Yeah.
being a little bit more of like a content creator for hire
They're
instead of
not
just
paid
like,
enough. No, it's not
it's
enough. The
wild.
pay's not good enough for that.
Yeah, it's funny because you were
So
telling me like this is like a whole
you
agency
want an
in one
agency
person. You want
and one
someone who can
person
write, who can
for,
design, who can
yeah,
produce, who can be on screen
no,
talent. And that's
no,
wild because from our
no.
generation in our days, that was a whole agency. It
It's a
was a
whole
whole
agency.
agency of talent. You had
Right.
copywriters, and
Yeah.
then you had video,
Yeah.
like cinematographers and video producers, and then you had designers who made the
But I feel like you
art.
need all of that because like you don't want just one person's ideas and one person's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's better to have a
Yeah.
team do it instead of one person. I don't know. Because one person
It's
can't do it
wild.
all. You can't also, if you're doing all that, you can't also then stay up on all the trends. And you can't
Right.
also dig into the analytics the way you would want to. I don't know. I just feel
Yeah.
like some of these are separate jobs. So anyway, that's just my rant
Totally.
about the job listings
So you
for
haven't found
what I
anything
am.
that feels like
Well, that's the thing is, I was
exciting?
like, I'm not even qualified for that. Like, I was like, wow, I'm actually not even qualified for like social media management roles now, even though I run a social media management agency. I
I
don't know.
think you're
It's
more qualified than you think.
if I really went and taught myself video editing,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I just seem to, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, enough about us. I think we're really excited. We have our very first guest ever on the podcast. So we're so excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's a friend of yours, but I think we should hop into that. I think they've heard enough from us. So. All right. Well, we're super excited to have our first guest. Lauren and I have talked a lot about how you guys might not want to hear about our day to day every time when we're doing a challenge. And sometimes nothing exciting happens during our challenges. So that'd be really fun to bring on some new guests to hear what they're doing. And so, Lauren, you had a friend that you said would be perfect for this. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you know Lauren? And Lauren, and Lauren are now on screen.
Yes, I thought it would be appropriate for our first podcast to make sure that we brought on a guest named Lauren
Yes,
because just for kicks.
because you can never have enough Laurens.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're super thrilled to have Lauren Stark with us here today. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
And Lauren is a dear friend of mine from when my husband and I lived in Madison, Wisconsin. So we moved away from Wisconsin only, gosh, two years ago. And Lauren's a dear friend from that time. And I'm really excited to have her on today and share this conversation with you guys because Lauren was one of the first friends I had in life who did the thing that we always like talk about, like making a change or doing a thing that's different. And I, at the time, was just so impressed and thought it was so cool that she made a jump and made a big change in her life. So I wanted to bring her on to talk about that today and just kind of share with you guys her story, which I thought would be really fun. So I'll give you Lauren's little intro. Lauren Stark is a former apparel designer turned real estate agent and investor in Madison, Wisconsin. A Wisconsin native, Lauren lives with her husband and two rescue dogs, Marlo and Briar, and she enjoys lots of things, including design. And I know you guys travel a ton and is just a super awesome human. So thanks for being on with us today.
Gosh, thanks. That was so nice. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is my first podcast, so very, very excited to be here. Big fan of the
Awesome.
pod.
Big fan of the pod. Well, that's
We have at
awesome.
least
Thank you so
one.
much.
Yes, you definitely have a fan. I am a huge fan.
Yeah. But I think what's also fun to bring you on is because I think some people who are listening might not relate as much to, which is because we keep saying we're about to turn 40. You're a few years younger than us. So it just kind of goes to show that you can hit this point in your life of like wanting to make a career change or just like noticing you're not super happy with what you're doing and make that change. So I think it's cool that you're younger than us and also you didn't wait till you were on the brink of 40 to realize you have no idea what you want to do in your life. Like,
Yeah.
so you started in apparel design, so maybe how you got into that, and then bring us up to
Yeah.
date to how you got to doing real estate.
Yeah. So I started, I guess I always knew from a young age, like probably middle school, I'd say, that I wanted to do apparel. And I really love animals. Like animals are also my other passion. And I always thought, okay, I'm either going to do fashion design or I'm going to do something with animals. And then all the jobs with animals, I was like, okay, if I can't be a vet,
Right.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an animal rescuer. That seems really heavy and sad. And I just knew I wanted to do something really fun as a job. I didn't want like a traditional job, I guess. And I always loved apparel. Like I always had all the fashion magazines. And I think when I realized, oh, that's a real job, like you can actually be a designer, I was like, well, that's what I want to do.
How fun.
So yeah, I went
That's so
to
cool.
school for that. I went to UW Stout in Wisconsin, which actually has a really good fashion program, which I didn't know until I went there, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It was an awesome experience, and met my best friends. Like I know you guys too have that experience. Yeah, I graduated in 2010, so it was still a little bit of a hangover from 2008, like the recession, like people weren't really hiring. So it took me probably about a year and a half to get my first like quote unquote real corporate job. And that was in Madison at Land's End, where Lauren also used to work. I moved to Madison, honestly thinking it would be a short-term thing. I was like, oh yeah, this is just my first job. I'll probably move out of the state at some point because I was born and raised here. But here I am 14 years later, and I'm still in Madison.
Well, it's a beautiful city.
It is. I really love it. And yeah, we miss the Butlers.
Oh,
But we wish you
miss
all the
you
best.
guys.
We're happy we get to see you when we're in Portland. But
So as you were doing apparel design, like was there a point where you were like, I'm just going to dabble in real estate? Or what made you start even, like, were you kind of feeling burnt out at doing apparel design? Or what was it that made you start dabbling in real estate?
yeah, I mean, it definitely is one of those careers that can bring you out pretty quick because things just move really fast. And there's a lot of, I feel like in any kind of creative field, it's just so many opinions. It's really all it comes down to at the end of the day. It's like, I think this will sell. And everyone's like, well, I don't think it will. And it's not a lot of facts. There's not like math and like necessarily science behind some of the more like, creative stuff. But yeah, I was definitely feeling burnt out. And my last job was at Duluth Trading Company. And so I'd worked at Land's End, I worked at another place, and then at Duluth. And Duluth started off as honestly like my dream job. I was doing menswear. That was my passion. I got to do outdoor gear, which was super cool. And,
It's cool.
towards the end, I was overseeing my own brand, under the Duluth umbrella. So it was kind of like a dream scenario. And I was like, if I'm doing this and I'm still feeling so burnt out, like, I don't think I should be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So it kind of just got to that point of, this is kind of best case scenario. This is like the best job I'm going to get. And I can't see myself doing it for like 30 more years. Like, what am I going to do? Because even moving up, in that career, you're no longer designing anymore. Once you get to like the director, VP level, you're just not doing the thing you loved to do.
Yeah.
Right.
It just kind of got my wheels turning. I was like, okay, I need to figure something else out.
And how old are you at this point?
Oh, this is probably around 2018 is kind of when I was like, I don't know if this is going to be forever, but I was still okay, like mentally.
Yeah.
And then I think going into COVID, like things just really kind of started hitting, and I just started feeling like the corporate heaviness of like, oh, I don't know that I feel valued, there's like layoffs and just kind of how they treated the COVID environment and all of that stuff just kind of gave me the ick, for lack of a better term, and I couldn't shake it after that.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely like the catalyst for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that time in all of our lives, like, just amplified everything. Like, no matter what situation you were in, it either just like made it worse or made it better, or like, just underscored everything. So that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
That's so
it made you
true.
realize what you value too. So it's like you realize maybe I don't just value this paycheck, and I also like to enjoy what I'm doing again. So then when you started, did you try anything else before real estate, or did you just initially just go right to researching how to get work in real estate?
Yeah, I actually didn't ever really consider real estate. Like, I didn't know anyone who was in real estate. It wasn't like a thing I was brought up with. I don't know. It just wasn't on my radar.
Did you watch any of the shows? Like, did you watch?
Well, I
any of
do
the,
now.
like-
I'm
Okay.
obsessed with them. Yeah, all of them. I'm
Of
like,
course.
the minute they come on, I like, this is what I'm doing today. I'm binging the show.
Nice.
But we bought our first house in 2018, and I really liked the whole process of it. And I was like, oh, I think I could probably be a real estate agent. Like, I could see this totally working for me as like a hobby. Like, I never ever considered it would be full time because I wasn't there mentally yet to like actually leave my design job.
You guys bought your first house. You did quite a bit of work on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, to renovate, and kind of, was that the part of it that you loved, or just literally the process of buying it? Like, how was that for you?
Yeah, I really liked the process of buying it, like specifically, I mean, and fixing it up too.
Yeah.
Kind of. I feel like there's like the fun parts of home ownership and the not so fun parts of home ownership. But I like the process of buying it. And I actually we didn't have a great experience with our realtor. And I just didn't first time buyers, we didn't know what we didn't know. And I don't feel like she was like a helping hand and like guiding us. I just the entire time felt confused. But I loved like going to see all the houses. I loved, just like even submitting the offers was like fun and exciting. And so I was like, okay, I think I could do this. I think this could be something fun as a side gig. I feel like every millennial's like, oh, what's my side gig? Whatever. And I listened to a podcast that I thought was about being a real estate agent. And then it was actually about being a real estate investor. And I, again, like had never even heard of real estate investing. And I'm like 32
well,
or
I
whatever.
feel like real estate, in my head, real estate investing is something old rich people do, like not our age.
Yeah.
So that's so true.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know about it. And I was like, wait. And then I was like hooked after that podcast. I
so
loved
cool.
it.
Should we drop the name of the podcast? So in
Yes.
case
Oh my
anyone
God.
else is-
Yes. Well, those Bigger Pockets, if anyone out there knows what that is, I am obsessed with Bigger Pockets, and they have,
I don't know
that's
it.
kind of just like their
Check it out.
platform, the name of the platform. And then they have a ton of different podcasts under that umbrella.
Okay.
And I don't remember the exact one I was listening to, but there's just so much out there. It's like,
Cool.
Yeah.
if you're into it, you'll like deep dive into Bigger Pockets and get obsessed pretty quickly. It's really
So
fun.
for someone who's working a full-time job and they're interested in getting started, what is the steps you had to take to even just like start? Did you have to first research what do I even need to do to get my license, or like do you take classes somewhere? Is it all online, or how can someone who's interested just like start doing it on the side?
Yeah, everything's online now, which is great. And it had just kind of started to become online at the time. So it really was good for me at that point. Well, I guess I should say, so 2018 was about when the seed was planted, but then I didn't actually get my license until 2021.
Okay.
So I've had it for about going on 4 years.
Okay.
And at that point it was COVID, after COVID. So everything was online.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to do, I should probably know this, but it's like once you do it once, you don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's-
Forget about it.
yeah, it's like 60 some hours of lecture. Like you listen to videos and then you have to take quizzes and tests. And then that's ultimately just preparing you for like the final test to get your license. So it's pretty easy, quote unquote. Like you just have to study a little bit and listen to some stuff, and you just make time for it if it's something that's important to you. But obviously I know it's tough for people to do that.
Right.
But yeah, everything can be found online. I did have a family friend who was a realtor, and again, didn't really think about it until I was starting to do it. And she was like, oh yeah, just do this and this. And it was pretty painless, honestly.
That's good.
I was really nervous to take the test. Like, I'm just a nervous test taker. I've always been.
I remember
How
that.
long does it, is it like a time test? Is it like, do you go somewhere to like a testing place?
Yeah, you go to a testing place. It's like very official, and they have to like monitor you, like go into the bathroom and all these things.
I'm like, I haven't taken a test since like 2008 or something, like finals.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't even know how I would.
Yeah.
I'm like getting stressed out thinking about that.
I was super nervous, but I passed. I was so excited.
It's exciting. Did
I
you go
know.
celebrate that day?
I did, yes. Yeah. My
Nice.
husband had like a bottle of champagne. We like popped it. It was very cute. But
That's cute.
Awesome.
yeah.
So then how do you go about getting your first client? How do you get someone to trust you when you've never done it before? Do you have to like
Yeah. I
use
think
a friend?
Yeah, my first client actually came from Bigger Pockets, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, cool.
And
really?
Wow.
I actually got my license not thinking I would even be a realtor for other people. I actually just wanted to get it for me to buy my own properties and just kind of cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
And then, I had someone reach out to me on Bigger Pockets and was like, hey, you're a local realtor. Like, I am looking for an investment property. And we ended up closing on a condo for her, and it was awesome. And I was like, wait, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my first few people were actually from Bigger Pockets. And then, just kind of like word of mouth and a friend of a friend and, things like that. They kind of just start trickling in.
So at
But yeah.
first, like when you decided to get your license, your plan was like, this will be my side hustle. I'm still working full time. And your plan was really to use it for flipping investment properties, like with your husband, and for you guys to do that kind of.
Yeah, I was like,
on
I
the
could help
side.
friends and family, like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go out there and try and build this big real estate business or anything like that. I was like, it'll just be
Sure.
helpful for me to have. It's something that seems like fun to know about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool that that's how that first client found you.
Yeah.
Or is it like a different experience? You were saying like it was so fun getting to help her with that. Was that like eye-opening for you? Just like the process of doing it for her and with her. Is that different?
It was really fun. And it was her first investment property. And,
It's cool.
she didn't know it was my first
Yeah.
one doing it either. But yeah, it was just really fun being able to like be that guiding force, I guess, like helping someone make this big purchase. It's a huge purchase for people, especially when it's your first time. I mean, when you're buying and selling real estate, after that, it just gets easier and you're just like, oh yeah, whatever. But it's easy to stress about the little details and the things that come up. And so it's very like fulfilling to me to be able to like feel like you're helping people through it.
That's good. Well, because I know it's not, like I let my husband handle all of it because he's like a numbers guy and I don't know. So I'm just like, I don't like paperwork. I don't like numbers. You do that part. I just want to look at these houses and picture myself in these houses. So he handled all of that. But then I like started to realize, like you were saying, when you're a first time buyer, even a second time buyer, it is so confusing. There's so many, like, I feel like kind of the way, Lauren, you and I were talking about how you need like a midwife to hold your hand through that. You need like, because it's kind of like not the realtor's job to be like, you probably can't afford this. Like, because really your client comes and says, this is my budget. What's in my budget? And you provide that, you know, and then like your mortgage company will kind of approve you for way more than they should sometimes. But it's kind of like, I need someone to like, I don't know. I just think it's like, I like the way you're saying, like, I want to help people and I want to make, like, you learn from a past experience of this was hard and confusing. And now you want to be the kind of, you know, realtor that is much more helpful and personable through it. So I think that's really cool. And I have always, like, because I do love going to look at houses. The beginning of a home search is so much fun. So I'm kind of like, that would be fun as a realtor to be the part of that for everyone else. Like, especially if they have like a big budget, that'd be so fun. But then I was like, because do I want to be a realtor? I mean, even though I just said I hate paperwork and numbers, if like, do I want to do this? But I was like, I think the only thing that for me, I was like, would this be really hard because you're on the client's time? Like they want to go see a house at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. because they have to work all day, or they want to go see a house that you know they're not going to like, but you still have to go do it. Like, what are the downsides to it? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of, we can obviously talk about all the good sides too, but do you find any of that kind of a struggle?
Yeah, it is a little bit of a struggle. Like the thing I like about it is that every day looks different, but the struggle is that every day looks different. So it's hard to have a rhythm. And I found that I haven't really found my routine yet. And I'm still kind of looking for that because some days I'm like, okay, I have to get up and I have a meeting at 8 a.m. And other days I don't have anything till noon, but then, you know, I'm gone all day until, I mean, sometimes like, you know, 8 p.m. So it really, every day is totally different. I don't have kids, so I feel like right now it's pretty easy for me to just say yes to everything and really accommodate my buyers and sellers. But I'm anticipating, you know, if and when we do have kids, it's going to be a shift and something I'm going to have to navigate. So I'm not totally sure how that's going to work yet, but right now I'm loving it because it's just like I can put my everything into it and it's just making me really happy right now. So it's fun.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So I guess I wonder, like, I guess there couldn't be a way where I could be like, I'm only available from like 9 to 3 to show you houses. Because really, it's up to like when the buyer can go see it and when, you know, the seller can even show it. So I guess it's a little.
Everyone's different too. You know, like some people don't have your traditional 9 to 5 or they work remote and it's really flexible. So they are able to see it whenever. But some realtors do that. Like they do put boundaries, which I think is really important and good to do, especially if you have a family. So that's probably something I'll, you know, end up doing later in life. But you know, for I'm like, bring on the business, like let's go, like let's see some stuff. It's
So at what point were you able to then quit your job and decide that this is what you're going to do full time?
Yeah, so I have been doing this full time now for 8 months, going on 8 months. So it was last August of 2024. It took me a while to get there. So I had my license for 3 years at that point. And I actually didn't even realize I was at that point. I had started to just talk about it with my husband. I was like, in 2 years, give me 2 years and then I think I can do it. Then I'll go real estate full time. We just need to have like this much saved in our 401k. We just need to have this and this, all like everything needs to be perfect and in place. And it just kind of got to the point where I was so burnt out and so unhappy. And I came home like crying one day and it was really him that like pushed me to do it. He was just like, you need to do this now. Like, what are you waiting for? And I was like, no. I was like, no, I can't. I just can't. He's like, but yes, you can. Like, you can do this. He's like, you know, I have steady income right now. He does photography and marketing and, you know, his schedule's all over the place too. But he's like, I have pretty steady income. Like, we can do this. You know, we don't have kids. It's a good time for us. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was so scared. But I think like having that permission from my partner in life was, I think, really important. And I was like, you're right. Oh my gosh. Like, I think I can do this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how like I feel like we get wrapped in this story of like what it needs to be or how it needs to look to be like ready, and then like sometimes all we need is for somebody to just illuminate like no, just like it could be this. You can
Yeah.
just make this different choice, and then you're like like you said like oh, maybe I can maybe I can
Yeah.
do this. It's so cool.
It was like a light bulb, like total switch. Because I just in my house like you can't, not yet, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, the minute he said that and it like sank in, I was like, oh, there's no going back. Like I have to do this now, you know?
So how freeing did it feel? When you put in your notice? Like how freeing was that to just be like,
Oh, it was so scary.
yeah,
It was so scary. Yeah.
yeah,
I thought it would feel more freeing. Like at first, it was just so scary. I like when I put in my notice, I was bawling. Like because it's so bittersweet because it's not that I didn't love my job. You know, it just was this. To me at the time, it was just a very like toxic environment. I couldn't be in it anymore. I felt like I was growing out of it. It just wasn't aligning with where I wanted to go. I couldn't see a future there or anywhere in kind of that corporate fashion industry. And so it felt really good in that aspect. But yeah, it was really bittersweet because I still really liked to design, you know?
yeah,
Yeah. You were telling me, Lauren, like when we were preparing for this, you were like, it's just like just now you're starting to kind of feel like, okay, I'm a real estate agent. Like I'm a realtor. This is who I am and what I do. And I know Lauren Parajon, we've talked so much about like in this phase of life, looking back and seeing how much your career shapes a core part of your identity and like how you see yourself and how you think of yourself. And we struggle with that and the ways it changes. How has that been for you? Like, has that been surprising for you? Like, does it feel totally different? How has that been?
Yeah, I was really surprised how long it took me to like quote unquote shed my job at Duluth.
Yeah.
Like I found myself, you know, I have a lot of friends there. So when I would chat with them, I would always find myself saying we, like I'm still a part of it. Like I'm still in it. Like I was still attaching myself to that identity of being a designer and like being on that team. And it literally until just now, I feel like, it's been almost 8 months. So I was like kind of thinking about it. I was like, okay, so maybe it takes a month for like every year you were at a job to shed. That's kind of how it feels, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm like finally ready. You know, when people ask me, oh, what do? You know, when you meet new people, it's just kind of one of the first questions that they ask. And for a while, it was sad to me to not be able to say, oh, I'm a fashion designer. Or I'm an apparel, because everyone always had good reactions and like you know, follow up. They're like, oh, that's so cool. And a lot of questions. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in real estate. And there's like, sweet. Like,
cool.
there's like, cool, sounds good. And how's the market or whatever. But you know, there's not like a ton of follow up. But yeah, I finally feel like I'm really settling into this new identity and also realizing that it isn't my whole identity either.
Yes.
Like I'm so much more than that. And I think I've been able to explore that a little bit more, and I'm, you know, still just kind of tapping into what all of that is for me too. But
that's a big part of it for sure. And I know, like you said, like so many of your really good friends are people you had worked with for years and years too, including your like very best friend. And how has that been, like being able to continue those friendships, or like, you know, your whole social, not whole social life, not to like say that, but a big part of it was like connected to work too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because we had so many like-minded people at Duluth. There's just a lot of women. We're all kind of the same age. And so we all just got along really well. And I definitely miss that the most, I would say, just the people. And I loved my team. But I think the cool thing is that we've still been staying in contact since then. And we have dinners and happy hours. And
That's great.
it just, it makes me feel, I'm like, oh, we're real friends. Like, we're not
exactly.
just
Not just work friends.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't know. You're like, oh, well, we have to see each other every day. I see you more than my partner. And, you know, we're just forced to be together. But it's like, oh, no, we're choosing to still be friends. And that it feels really good. I just feel like that's also helped me get out of like, this isn't my whole identity. Like, I am a person outside of being a designer, and people still want to be my friend. So that's nice.
Have you felt at all like you're missing the creativity of like design though? Like, do you feel like you are going to miss that, or like, is that something you could also do on the side if you wanted to?
Yeah, I'd love to do it on the side for sure. I think this break has honestly been really nice, but I am at the point where I'm like, oh yeah, if something like freelance came along, like I would definitely be interested.
Lauren Butler, I bet she would get approved for Amazon merch on demand. I bet this is the Lauren that could get in.
I cannot get in to tell you about today.
You can design dog merchandise
Oh my
on
gosh,
Amazon
I
and
would love that.
just, unite all of your passions
Oh,
and do it on
that'd
the
be
Oh my
side.
gosh, there you
perfect. That'd
go.
be
Yeah.
perfect.
We'll
Too
talk after
funny.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Great.
an
Make a plan.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Then
no,
maybe
I'm
you could
definitely
introduce me to
ready.
someone.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we bought an investment property in October, and my husband and I have been trying to fix that up, and we've been furnishing it and painting and just doing all the things. So I
That's
feel like
cool.
that has been a really great creative outlet for me.
That's fun.
The last few months. So I think as long as I can still kind of have something to like
Right.
design, whether it's clothes or houses or my bedroom is next
Yeah.
on my list, whatever it is. I think
Yeah.
that's good for me.
That's
do you
awesome.
feel at all like that you were a little afraid to get into it because of like how interest rates can change, how that affects your job? Like,
For
I
sure.
think that's something that scares me. Like
The variability
sometimes,
of just the
yeah, it's gonna be
market.
like no one wants to buy at a certain time, and then what? So I'm not trying to just like point out all the terrifying
No.
things about real estate, but like these are just things that I've thought about.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the huge things holding me back was just the stability or instability, of this market. And obviously, when you have a full-time job, when your paycheck's coming, how
Right.
much you're investing, all these things. And so the unknown is just obviously really scary.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of like, well, I don't know, let's just do it. And
Yeah.
hopefully I also in Madison, we're kind of in a nice little unique bubble in Wisconsin too, where we have like really a lot of high paying jobs, a lot of tech jobs,
That's
a lot
cool.
of like, we have the UW system here. So it is this nice little bubble where I'm not as worried. But of course, there's always going to be really good years and there's going to be low years. And
Yeah.
the first thing any seasoned real estate agent will tell you is to just have a savings and just be
Yeah.
ready to weather storms as they
Right.
come. So
That's smart.
I think as long as you are smart about it and keep that in mind and don't blow all your money right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. What are the like surprising costs to being a real estate agent? Like, do you have to do all of your own like marketing materials, or like if you have a seller, are you paying for the like photography of the house? How does all that work? How much is out of pocket to you?
That's a good question. It totally depends on the brokerage you're at.
Okay.
Like some brokerages do that. Mine does. So that's,
Okay.
all included in the service that we provide, which is our commission that we get. So we include all of the photos. We have drone, the Matterport, 3D walkthroughs.
Cool.
We have in-house stylists. We have our in-house marketing team. So that is all included. We don't have to pay for that out of pocket, but it comes out of like our commission split
Okay.
with the
That makes sense.
brokerage. So that's how they get paid in the end. But that's also why I love my brokerage, because they just really handle everything and make
That's
it
good.
really easy on us. Like we can just concentrate on serving our clients,
Okay.
and the clients are very well taken care of. So
I guess
it's
that's what I was
awesome.
wondering. Like, some people probably do private and some go to a brokerage. So I guess if you're doing private, you're paying for a lot of that out of pocket, I would assume. But like is it like an application? Like, do you have to get hired at that brokerage firm? Like, or like, can you go in with no experience and just say I have my real estate license and
yeah, you can. I mean, a lot of people do that. It just it told people like, oh, I'm starting out. Where should I go, or who should I hang my license under? And it just totally depends on you and your goals and kind of just like where you vibe and where you fit. I started at a different brokerage before at the one I'm at Sprinkman, and I just knew it wasn't a good fit, but I had a couple of people I knew there. It was like the friend of the family. So I was like, okay, this is fine. And then
Yeah.
I met the owners of Sprinkman, my current brokerage, and we just totally hit it off. And
Okay.
I got a tour of the brokerage, and they also have an interior design firm, and it's just like such a cool look in the
Yeah.
office. And they're more of a boutique brokerage, so they
Okay.
do things kind of on their own, and they just have a lot of local roots. And I just really like what they stand for. It just felt like more of a family and more
That's
of like a
cool.
real like company. I feel like we're all always in meetings together and trying to like build each other up and help each other, where at some other brokerages it's very much like every man for himself and
Yeah.
more competitive between agents, but it's like there's enough to go around for all of us. And
Yeah.
Right.
I think we should really just try and help each other out. So having that positive mentality from my brokerage has really helped me have that positive mentality. And I feel like I've just made so many good connections with other agents, like in our firm and out of our firm. And it's been really fun to feel like, oh, these are like my coworkers,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
That's cool.
we're all independent contractors technically. We're not like employed by the brokerage. We just kind of hang our license there, but it feels like a community. It's really fun.
That's cool too,
awesome.
because I know for me and Lauren Parajon, I don't know if you feel this way too, but working as an independent consultant, kind of contractor from home remotely, right? I don't have that same
It's
like,
lonely.
it's lonely.
It's
Yeah. I
lonely.
miss people. I miss like
Yeah.
having my like office besties and like
Yeah.
having friends that you collaborate, even just like from a
Yeah.
work perspective too, like
Right.
the collaboration and the
Yeah.
being able to bounce stuff off of people. And so I wonder if, like, do you feel like you have a little bit of that versus kind of being on an island?
For sure. Yeah. It's kind
Yeah.
of the best of both worlds because there's no office hours. I have to be in the office, but I
Yeah.
can go there whenever I want. So, once a week they have group meetings and we're always learning about new things. And yeah, I feel like I really value that it's my time, so I can schedule everything in however I want. Like, obviously, I have to work around my client schedules and things like that, but I'm happy to because it's my business that I'm trying to grow and I'm just
Right.
fully invested. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it and having the social aspect when I want to, but then just like heads down working from home, like that's when I get the most done.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
like that. I have that opportunity and no one's scolding me for it or,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
all up to me. So that feels really good.
I'm curious if you have thoughts on like what kind of personalities it would be a good fit for, like for people who are considering it, and what might be, a good personality fit for real estate.
Yeah, a lot of different personalities can fit in real estate.
Yeah.
And like, I'm probably not the right personality to work with everyone, but then
Yeah.
again, like I don't want to work with everyone either for
Yeah.
being a buyer or seller. I think it's important to just find the people that you connect with because I'm calling them every day. Like we're talking constantly.
Yeah.
I see them multiple times a week when we're doing showings and
Yeah.
you really have to work together with this person. So I think it's really important that you're on the same page and you both trust each other and, you're kind of in it together. So I think you end up finding your people in this
Yeah.
because there's just so many different types of people out there.
Sure.
But you definitely need to, even if you don't feel confident, you need to be able to like fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that with almost anything though. I feel like I
Yeah.
was doing that when I was a designer too. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to pretend
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all do that, right?
Yeah, I know. I think you just
Totally.
kind of
It's a
have
plan.
to
Yeah.
until you finally start to feel like comfortable in
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Well, like even just listening to you talk about it, I'm seriously sitting here like, should I get my like should I
Should I
just
do this?
like as you were saying, like you just wanted it for your own investments. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe I should.
maybe you should.
And I'm also not just saying like anyone can do it. Like I'm sure you have to
Right.
like, yeah,
Well-
like I just said I hate paperwork, and I'm pretty sure like a lot of it is paperwork, right? Like if you get down to it, all those contracts.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of contracts, but you do the same contracts over and over.
Yeah, it's like
so
a
you get to
pre-made
know them
thing,
really well.
right?
I was
Okay.
so intimidated by the contracts. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I'm a visual person, but
Yeah.
like letters, no, like it's
When I
not
went
for
to
me.
closing, I was like, the stack of paperwork is making me want to
Yeah.
leave the room. Like, I want to be like,
Yeah.
you just sign it all. I don't want to be part of this. Like,
Yeah, that's
freaks
why.
me out.
Yeah, I don't think I could be a lender. I don't think I could be
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
a title agent or anything like that because yeah, the stacks of paperwork. But we do
Scary.
have quite a few forms for us. But once you get to know the forms, it's
Yeah.
the same forms over and over.
Okay.
You're just checking different boxes and writing in different
Right.
numbers. So
okay.
yeah, it feels a little
Less
less
scary.
intimidating after you do it a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely had to have people like, I was like, can you look this over before
Yeah.
I sign? I was like so scared because you don't want to mess it up for your
Yeah.
client,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've definitely
Sure.
thought Lauren Parajon in the past. I feel like I've even said that to you. Like you should
I think
you should
I've
do
had a
real
few
estate.
people say that.
You
And
get so passionate about
Well, it'd be like-
finding the right fit for people or
yeah.
like the right,
but it'd be
thing.
fun, but I'd also have a hard time. They'd be like, I want to go see this. I'm like, it's not going to work. You're not going to like it. Let's not do that. Like, I would, you have to just like, sure, let's go. And like, 'cause
Yeah.
you're working for them in a way that I would just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think because I remember a few houses that we were like, I just really want to see it. Looking back, I'm like, oh my God, we made our realtor like, leave at 6 p.m., leave his family and come show us this god awful house that we thought might have potential. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, looking back, I realized like, oh, even though I think I would be a good client, we did things that were very, would make my realtor's job not fun. Like right when we moved to Fort Collins, I moved here with my family, my sister moved with her family, and my mom and dad moved. We all moved at the same time. This was 2021, well, beginning of 2022. We didn't know what the market was like here. And we were like, hey, can you find us all a house in the same neighborhood, but with different budgets? Like, and like looking back, I'm like, his head must have
With
exploded.
one agent? You were working with one
We had
agent?
one agent. We all had the same
Poor
agent.
guy.
His head probably exploded because like during early 2022, every single house that went on the market had 20 offers on it within the
Yeah.
first day, cash.
So
So like
competitive.
that was such a dumb request that I didn't know at the time. So I'm like, he was so nice and humored me, and he was like, "We'll see what we can do." We did all get houses in Fort Collins, which is great, but we're all in different parts of it. But I don't know. I just like think like requests like that. It would be hard to be like
I
he
actually,
handled it gracefully. I would be like, no, that will not happen. Like,
I
Yeah.
have to
I
imagine
think,
that's fairly rare to move a
yeah,
whole family
Yeah.
from
right,
out of state
yeah,
at the same
yeah,
time.
That is rare for
yeah,
sure, but it's a good challenge. But also, I feel like
yeah.
it's good to. I think the thing I'm definitely learning in doing real estate full time is like you just really need to set clear expectations for people because I don't ever
Yeah.
want to overpromise and underdeliver. I always
Right.
want it to be the opposite. So just be like, okay, I'm going to do my best. I want this for you, but we might have to. You guys might be a little bit more separated than
Yeah.
you want. But here's the state of the market.
That's
Here's what we're
smart.
looking at. Just this is what you can expect. I say that to all my
Right.
first time buyers because it's it's the off season, but it's still kind of crazy right now, even though interest rates are still higher. There's tons of buyers out there. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
price point you're looking at, you're going to have a lot of competition. So let's know that going in.
Just know that. Yeah.
And I just want to level set with you. You might not get the first 5 offers,
Right.
you put in,
Right.
but I'm here with you.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. We're going to find you the house.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
so
man.
true. And as a first timer, you just think, and it's scary to put an offer in. So you're like, I have to be prepared to get this.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like, well, I'm going to get it. And then it's helpful to be like, no, you're not going to get your
Yeah.
first one. Like the
Yeah.
likelihood of that happening is
Right.
low.
Yeah.
But it's funny too, because Lauren Stark, I feel like it comes back to you talking about like the personality fits. It really just depends because I first had an agent who was like almost too nice, like too accommodating, like would just let us guide and drive everything we wanted to see. And then another agent I worked with later in life, like for a second house, I feel like I really appreciated somebody who was willing to like really give me feedback and be honest and be like, no, like you should
Like,
do,
you don't.
And I was like, okay, I want that.
Yeah.
Like I want an agent who's going to be like, tell me the truth and kind
Yeah.
of be a little bit more guiding in terms of like helping me get to where I want to be. And so anyway, it's almost like, do you feel like you're ever playing like a therapist role? I
Yeah.
feel like it's so emotional too, like
Yeah,
going through
it
the home
is.
buying process.
It is, and it can be stressful, when things don't come back how you wanted. The appraisal doesn't appraise, and the inspection wasn't favorable, and
Yeah.
it's really emotional because you're under time restrictions. It's like, okay, in 3 days we have to make our decision on this, and send this amendment or whatever it is, negotiate
Yeah.
this, and yeah, for people who aren't used to it, it does feel very stressful. It is a lot of managing emotions, and I think that's the thing I really like about it is, yeah, you get to know your people and do your best to just like, okay, like get to the root of why they're emotional about it.
Yeah.
It's like, are you stressed because of the time? Are you stressed because of the money? And then it's my job to kind of figure out how to help them through that stressful part because buying real estate can be really stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I work with a lot of investors, and especially real estate investing can be very stressful. You're doing rehabs, you're buying properties with a bunch of mold in it, and there's
Yeah.
going to be hiccups along the way. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely playing a little bit of therapist for sure.
Well, I think
Yeah.
one of the other perks too is you get first dibs on those friends. Like if they're moving into the city and you're like, oh, they were fun dibs. Like you can like find new friends for your friend group. Like our realtor was really good at that here. Like my husband and him are now best friends. But right when we moved here, like he like had some like barbecue and like introduced enough of us that now my whole book club here is just all of his clients.
Oh my gosh.
The moms or wives
Oh,
of
really?
all of his buyers, yeah. And so like we all know each other through him, which is just so funny. I don't know. I just think
Realtor.
it's another like benefit of a realtor that he can kind of help. We were brand new here; we didn't know anybody, but now we've built
Yeah.
this whole community, and that's one of the ways we built it was from him introducing us to people. So I just
Yeah.
think that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
super cool. I know you get to know your clients so well, and like I said, you're with them all the time, and
Yeah.
it's really fun.
Yeah.
And then after you close, you're like, okay,
you.
I'd
Oh,
like
I
it if
do
we
not
could
miss
hang
you.
out. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's so true though. It's such a hybrid of like a professional and a personal relationship because it's such
Yeah.
a big personal
Yeah,
transaction and purchase and decision. So that's wild.
Yeah, and it's fun too. I feel like, in a corporate environment, it's not always a good thing to feel like it's a personal relation, like everything. It's like, it's just business, whatever. And I just was never good at that. Like I am a very emotional person and I like to have deep connections with people. And
Yeah.
it's not like really valued in the traditional corporate
Right.
world. And I feel like it is in real estate. Like it actually helps you and gets you far and gets you referrals. And, when
Yeah.
people enjoy
Yeah.
working with you, and I don't know, it feels like such a better fit for me.
That's so awesome. Well,
So
I'm
fun.
so thrilled that you have like I said when I started our interview, when you decided to make that leap when we were still in Madison and you shared it with us, I was like, that's so cool. Like I just
Yeah.
thought it was so cool that you were doing it. Like you're getting I think at that time you hadn't quit yet. You were still working full time, but like going for it and getting your license. And I was just so inspired by that. So I think it's really awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
I think
you.
it sounds really fun. I think that people listening to this are now going to be interested in also doing that. But speaking of which, like, what final like signing off advice would you have for anyone, either just like in a rut where they're like, I'm not happy with this job, even though it's your dream job, like you said. Like, I mean, I've also had my dream job and realized like, oh, well, it's still actually just a job, and it was like not as fulfilling and everywhere else in my life. But what advice would you have for anyone that's just like in that position right now?
I mean, looking back, I just wish I had done it sooner, like cut the ties and just gone for it. It was so scary, and it just felt like it's not what you're supposed to do. It's not what society tells you to do, and you don't want to like, I was so scared to tell my parents that I
Oh,
was
really?
quitting my
Really?
job. Oh my God, I cried for like 2 days before I told them. I was like, I just didn't
Oh.
want them to, they just like helped me get there, and
Yeah.
I feel like they're so proud of me, and
Yeah.
I just didn't want to let them down. But they were like even more proud that I
Yeah.
was doing something that made me happy. So that was really great to hear. And I think being on the other side, I wish I would have done it sooner
Yeah.
for
Really?
a lot of different reasons. Yeah, I just kind of let it get too far, and I was just so unhappy. And yeah, at the end of the day, I was like really worried about just having that stability and that security of a paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
And now that I've been going for it full time, I feel like real estate opportunities just keep coming to me
Yeah.
like more and more. And I'm like, man, I really had to say no to so much.
Wow.
Even though I was really enjoying it, and I just didn't really
Yeah.
realize it. And then, yeah, doing it full time, you just don't really know what's out there until you put yourself out there. And
Yeah.
it's scary. Yeah, the unknown is scary, but just take the plunge. Take
the
it's so
plunge.
great. And worst case scenario, you go find another job.
Right.
Like that is
Yeah.
the worst case scenario, and that's not crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's so cool.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad I finally got to meet you.
Me
A friend of
too.
Lauren's is a friend of mine. Thank you for taking time out of your probably busy work life to
Yeah.
talk to us about this big career change.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might have people asking us more questions about it, so we'll hopefully be able to follow
Yeah.
up with you if you have answers for them.
Oh yeah.
But thank you so much. It's so exciting, and now I feel like I want to go get my license.
You should. You should totally do it. I think you
Do
should.
it.
You'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Having
Lauren. It was
me.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, like Lauren said, maybe we'll field some questions if you're willing to do that. And we'd love to.
Oh yeah.
continue the
Absolutely.
conversation.
Everyone should get their license. It's so fun.
Well, thanks again. And
Thank
we'll
you.
hopefully talk to you soon.
Sounds
Good luck with
good.
everything.
Thank you.
Yes. Good luck. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, that was super fun. So excited we got our first guest. I would love to have more guests. I think that's so fun. So if anyone else knows anyone who'd be perfect for the podcast, if you think you're perfect to be a guest on here, please send us a message. Our email is arewedoingthispod@gmail.com. And then again on social everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at arewedoingthispod. And then please rate, review, subscribe. We'd love to get you. Please send it to a friend. I think you said this last time. Send it to your friends. Let's get more. All of us are in this like weird time probably. Like I said, it doesn't have to be in your 40s. It can be in your 30s, whenever. Send it to all your friends, and let's get a big community of people so we can all throw ideas out there and start interviewing more people and seeing what more things we can do as side hustles or just new careers and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to hear from you too. So if you have feedback on something you want us to explore or talk about, please send those our way. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on your podcast provider, whether that's Spotify or Apple, and that'll make sure that you get our new episodes.
Yes.
And we're so excited to hear from you.
Yes. Please talk to us.
Yes, please talk to us. And thanks so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.
Yes, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.